Sup dogs, today we're playing 2.1 level 16 elite barbarian cycle, but that's not what we're talking about today. I gotta keep my voice down because I'm talking about a very MA 15 plus story that happened when I went out drinking with my neighbor 2 nights ago, my direct next door neighbor. So he wanted to go out drinking and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything. I didn't know what to expect. And I remember I told you guys, are you sure these people that I'm going to go drinking with are at this pub or blah, blah, blah are in my demographic, as in like my age or whatever, if I'm like going to meet someone. And I remember, just keep that in mind, okay? Because it's very important for later in the story because this is so crazy. So what happened was I met my neighbor at the pub and then there were these two other people there, two of his friends. They were both like 50-year-old friends of his, and they were married. And so what happened is I rocked up, I got to meet them, I got a drink, and then we just started chatting and drinking, blah, blah, blah. And so what happened is we did that for a few hours, and as time went on, I was just buying more and more drinks. They were buying more and more drinks. Like, they bought me a drink. Like, the person who would go up to buy the drinks at the counter would end up just buying the whole table of drinks. So at this point, I could no longer buy drinks for just myself. So every time I went up as well, I spent like $50 buying a drink for everyone. So it was a very expensive night. But what happened was, as the night went on, more and more people would just turn up out of nowhere and start joining us at the table. And I was like, what the fuck? And it's because my neighbor probably knows like fucking everyone. He's definitely like a regular at the pub. Also, are we gonna get a connection here? Oh, rip. Oh, still good. And so my neighbor probably knows like absolutely everyone at this pub, right? And not only that, one of the people we were sitting with is the sister of the bouncer at this place. So the bouncer at this place would talk to someone and then say, this is my sister. And so random people would just come out of nowhere and start sitting at our table. And so we had we started with like 4 of us at the table. And then it was this just full, absolutely crazy full table full of people, right? Everyone buying drinks, everyone drinking. And my neighbor knew all of them separately. Like, I'm the neighbor. There was one friend he met, one night drinking. And then there was these 2 people he's known for a while. And so we're all drinking at this table. And eventually one time I get up to go to the bar or go to the toilet or something. And this is going on for hours. We start at like 6 p.m. and we're at this bar till like 11 p.m., right? And okay, I think this guy's given up. And around 10 o'clock, I go up to the bar to get drinks and the weirdest thing happens to me, right? So I walk past this group of people and this woman grabs my arm and she points to she's just like, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then she points to her friend who's this bloke and she's like, you interested? I'm not fucking gay. So I was like, no, I'm not. He was like, yeah, I'm like a really big fan. And I'm just like, oh, no, thank you. Because I'm not gay. So it was just this really awkward thing. And I remember I went to the bathroom after that and I was just like scarred. I was like, what just fucking happened? Did I just get hit on by a gay dude? That's never happened to me in my life. And so I was trying to take that back. And I remember I was telling one of the people that we were sitting with at the bar, like, you can't tell anyone about this, but this is just what went down, man. That was weird. And so anyway, I went back to my table and we were drinking for a few more hours. I was getting to know this huge group of people essentially. And then what happened was it was about 11 p.m. and we were pretty much done drinking at this point. Not done drinking, but we were thinking, I was thinking, when is this going to wrap up? Like, how late is this actually going to go? And then one point my neighbor's like, all right, you want to head back to mine? And I was like, well, I'm going that way anyway. I mean, he's my direct next door neighbor. Sure, that could be a good way to just wrap up the night or whatever. And so I go to his and it's not just him. It's an entire group of people are going back to his. Like, pretty much everyone that was sitting at our table besides the 2 people that were sitting there at the very start, the couple. So the group was me, a 56-year-old woman, a guy who's a few years older than me, probably another guy that was a few years older than me, around the same age. They were all big pub going guys, and we all went back to his room. So we all go back to his apartment, and he offers us all a beer. So we're all still drinking. Some of us are having wine, like the woman was having wine. And I was like, what the fuck is going to go on now? Like, what are we going to do? Are we just going to be drinking till the sun comes up? Like, what's the plan? And then all of a sudden, he pulls out weed. He pulls out like a joint of weed, and he's like, we're going to smoke this. And I had a moment there. I had to reflect on my life. I was like, online I've been meth head my whole life. This is what everything seems to have been going towards. This is my big moment, man. And so I was like, all right, fuck it. This is the moment. I'm going to go with this. So I puffed the weed with him, man. We're all puffing the weed and we're all sitting around this table drinking and smoking with my neighbor who's like 20 years older than me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And now I'm fully corrupt at this point. And then after that, it gets kind of real. I'm not going to lie. So he must be absolutely smashed or drunk because this is the thing I was telling you guys about at the beginning. He starts telling me about how we all sit outside, right? And he starts telling me, okay, shit, I need to focus up here. We all sit outside on the terrace on his balcony. And he starts saying stuff like, we need to have a serious talk. And I'm like, oh God, what's this going to be about? Like, we need to have a one-on-one talk. And I'm just like, okay, this seems kind of serious, but I don't really know too much about this guy. I just know he's like a, you know, I say this all the time, divorced 50-year-old guy who, you know, likes drinking, gone to the pub, and yeah, is a bit of a party going guy, right? And so I'm like, okay. And so everyone starts talking outside to each other. And then he kind of like brings his chair close to me to tell me what he was wanting to talk about. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you know how you said earlier, is it my demographic? Like, do you want to come out because it's not your demographic? When you said that to me, I started crying. I went back to my apartment and I started crying. And when I was looking at him and while he was saying this, the energy of what he was saying, he must have been like high and like drunk. The energy of what he was saying felt so real that I was afraid that if I took this as a joke, or if I took this in any way that wasn't completely serious and took this completely legitimately, I was afraid he was going to like slap me or something, or like do something just like really out of the normal. That's the kind of vibe I got from this. So I made sure to like, I'm not going to fuck around here or do anything jokes wise, because there's something going on here. Like, he must just be off his head right now, or maybe this is just who he is. And then he starts going on, and then I'm looking at him seriously. I'm like, I'm not taking this as a joke. And so he keeps going on. He's telling me like, yeah, like, I know you're really smart, blah, blah, blah. Like, you were like what I wanted to be in school. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? And he knows about my YouTube channel, because there was one point at the table where they're like, oh, what's your YouTube channel called? What do you do? And because I've said all this fucking shit, I cannot tell them ever about my YouTube channel. There is absolutely no way. So that is going to be a secret till I die, as long as they don't find out themselves, right? And so he's telling me about all this stuff, and like, he's completely plastered. And I don't know if this is like what he suppresses on the inside normally, or what's going on, but one can only presume he's just drunk. Also, this is a fucking close game. Can we like not lose here? So I'm listening in really attentively, because I don't want to like get on his bad side or anything. He's my fucking neighbor. Like, I can't screw this up. And so I'm just listening to him, and he's just like, he's like almost crying, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, holy shit, this is so real. And at this point, I realized like, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe getting close to my neighbor was a bad idea, because he might expect me to keep going out with him, and if I don't, I'm going to get on his bad side, and then who knows what the fuck he's going to do. I just don't know. And I've heard some things from him in the past that I haven't told you guys that kind of were a bit weird to me. And so anyway, this happens, right? And then I'm like, oh yeah. And I completely answer seriously, and then we go back to talking normally with everyone outside. It was a fun moment besides that. And then we go back inside, right? And we're all sitting around the couch. We're all talking. It was kind of like a weird energy, I'm not going to lie. Just the dynamic between the whole group. Like, the older woman was like looking at one of the younger guys who was there, and he was telling him about how like he donates to charity, and he's this loving guy who wants all the trees to grow. And she's like, oh, like, I wish my son was like you, and like blah blah blah, and just like kissing him on the cheek and stuff. It was just this weird energy. I did not know what was fucking happening, and I'm just sitting there like observing. And then the other guy that's there, he's just like in his own planet right now. So I'm just the only one. I'm like, well, is this normal? Is this a normal group of people? Am I out of the ordinary right now? This seems a little out of my environment. And so anyway, I'm just sitting there, and I know my house is next door, so I can leave at any point. And eventually everyone is still drinking. And then at one point, one of the guys leaves, right? One of the guys leaves the apartment, and I'm like, okay, now it's just me, the 56-year-old woman, my neighbor, and the guy that the woman was making fun of, or not making fun of being like, I wish my son was like you. And so I know at this point, no one is going to leave. I don't think. My neighbor is not going to leave because it's his place, and I can tell he's not wanting the party to end. This woman is, holy shit. Okay, can you not like zap? Okay, perfect, he used it. Okay, don't die. Oh God, they're going to die. They're all fucking dead. No, level 15 Evolve Royal Giant. Why does he have this? And so, yeah, I'm like, okay, it's like 2 a.m. at this point. The party's going to end. Okay, this is it. Like, I don't know what's going on. I got to get back to my room. But I also didn't want to like piss him off. And I was also having quite a good time. And I just kind of want to see what it was going. My whole life is content at this point. So I was like, you know what? If I keep it going, the video will be cooler. My whole life is just one big video at this point. I literally only went out because it was, because I was like, it would be funny for a video. Like, let's see what happens. The apartment law goes crazy, man. And so what happened was he leaves, right? And then we all go outside and we all start talking for a bit more. And I'm off my chops at this point. And then at one point, my neighbor goes back inside, right? And then everyone goes back inside. And did I really just lose? And when I go back inside, I shit you not, what I see is the kitchen tabletop has white lines on it. there was fucking cocaine. Cocaine on the kitchen shelf, okay? Fucking cocaine. Fucking cocaine. I could not believe what I was looking at. I was like, what? My neighbor is a druggie? Like, what's going on? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And at that point, I knew it was over. I was like, okay, this is getting crazy. And the crazy thing is, he was like, come on, man. Like, I did the weed with you. Like, you got to do this with me. And I was like, nah. He was literally snorting lines of cocaine. And at this point, I kind of like snapped back into reality. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go back to my apartment. Like, what is going on right now? Is anyone else in this fucking apartment like fucking absorbing what's happening right now? He's trying to peer pressure me into doing cocaine. I was just like, and so I was just like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm gonna go now. And basically after that, he was just kind of like, you gotta stay, man. And as I was walking out, but I didn't let that change my mind. I was definitely leaving. So yeah, that's what happened, man. And that's pretty much how the night ended. And I actually didn't speak to him again until today, when he reminded me of something I said while I was drunk. He was like, yeah, you're still coming around for dinner tonight, right? And I was like, oh, yeah. And he was like, well, I'm not really feeling like cooking tonight, so you got to come around tomorrow for dinner if you want. And I was like, okay, because I kind of promised him while we were out drinking that we're going to go out for dinner. So yeah, I don't know what to do at this point, because I don't want to be on bad terms with my neighbor. And it was a fun night, in all honesty. Like, I had a good fun night, but I don't want to get like involved in some like crazy shit. And so yeah, I did not expect the night to be that crazy. All in all, like, I got confronted. I got offered to have sex with a gay dude. I ended up smoking marijuana, and I was absolutely plastered buying people drinks. And he tried to make me snort cocaine. Meth head has come a long way. That's all I'm going to say. I am now becoming meth head in real life, man. And so, yeah, that's basically what happened. So I don't really know what to do with my neighbor. I want to keep on good terms because I think he's a normal guy, but I'm not 100% sure anymore because of that whole fiasco. But yeah, I don't want to get involved in anything crazy. But yeah, there's the story. It's probably crazier than you thought, but in my apartment complex, it seems like nothing is off limits. Subscribe, I guess.